Well, got 3 packages. This one would be the one I said I would order last week. And technically it arrived. Well, I'm trying to remember when it arrived, but it's here now. I picked it up last night. But of course, we've got new stuff for today. Really? Okay, so I guess this is non-anime. This is Game of Thrones Season 5, which I don't think I've seen. I don't remember. But I got separate DVD, Blu-ray versions, just because I'll probably watch it on Blu-ray. But I do want to rewatch scenes on DVD. Let's go through the anime. First up, we've got a C3. Not to be confused with C3PO. It says something. It says what the C3 says there. CubexCursedxCurious. Well, I am curious. Not very cube though. More round. With a cough. Look at that, regions A and B. Japanese with English subtitles only. This is Funimation, so that's why we check, because sometimes it's weird like that. Nasty cough. DVD 1, DVD 2, Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2. I don't know who all these characters are though. Next up, we've got Blu-ray release of When They Cry, the complete collection, which is good because you know, this is season 1. It means the next seasons can finally start coming out. This one's region A only. It should be dubbed because it was dubbed a long time ago. And it's not paranoia if they really are trying to kill you. Blu-ray feels slightly bigger than the normal Blu-ray. I guess it's not. It's just heavier. Feels more solid. Looks like 4 discs. Oh yes, this is a Sentai release. Cool. Next up, we've got Waiting in the Summer Blu-ray release. I think I've got the old. I think I got the DVD release before. Ow, it pinched. And it's not separating. This is being really annoying. Let's at least start. There we go. If only the rest of this would just come off. Lights, cameras, Teen Angst. Region A. Japanese with English subtitles only. And I'm not quite sure what the old DVD release is, though. It's probably in the boxes. Buried deep. Oh well. And then, of course, Psycho Pass 2 Blu-ray DVD version. Because last week it was Blu-ray only. This one's regions A and B, English dubbed. And this one says Blu-ray plus DVD on the top, so hopefully this time I open it and instead of just saying Blu-ray and DVD on the side like this one does, it'll actually say, it will actually have, it's a DVD disc, that's a DVD disc, Blu-ray disc, Blu-ray disc, which is as expected. I guess that's all that came out this week. That's this week's anime DVD collection update. So pretty much the only anime I watched was Brothers Conflict. I guess because mostly Pokemon, but my opinion on it. There were a couple of things about it that were a little annoying, but overall I thought it was pretty good. Let's see. The annoying part is, you know, it kind of begins with this, oh, she's moving into a house full of guys and they're dangerous because they're guys and there's hormones, and it's kind of, it's stupid. No, I didn't even want to make the comparison because I know people wouldn't understand, but that aside, hard to say what to think about there, because there's a lot about it where it's intended to appeal to a more female audience, but and so some of that stuff is like, okay, some of these guys actually are forcing kisses onto her, and so it's just like, boundary issues, it feels like. But shows like this are all about pushing those boundaries, and I can't really fault it too much for that, because that's what the target audience is looking for, as I understand it. But to give it a lot of credit, it's not a one-trick pony. Usually when I watch a lot of shows like this, it's like it wants to do it and it wants to find excuses to keep doing that same thing where it's like, this is our gimmick. But this one, you know, it wanted a wide variety, it wanted a wide selection of people, but it didn't want to say, oh yeah, she keeps tripping whenever she sees one of them and they catch her and then they fall in love and whatnot. They wanted to keep it varied. So it's not the sort of thing where you watch it and you're like, okay, fine, this has happened again, when does the good stuff happen, or something like that. It's just, you know, it's more dynamic. Likewise, normally with a series like this, you kind of assume that, you know, it's this person's episode, then it's this person's episode, then this, you know, it kind of walks through, okay, this is the episode where things happen with this, but instead, again, they kept it dynamic, so it kind of felt good, I guess, better than a lot of stuff where it's just like, I think the two things I'm talking about go hand in hand, where it kind of knew that it needed to be a flowing situation. It's all about her trying to establish a sense of family, and everybody in this family saying, huh, well, for some reason we're really horny for this girl. And I say for some reason because there's never a real clear reason. It's like she's an okay girl, but I'm not entirely sure if some of that is just because I tend to sympathize with the protagonist, and so I just watch it and don't think too much about them. But it did occur to me watching that she could be a bit more plain, blank slate, kind of self-inserting person. Now, to give it credit, it doesn't say that she's like, oh, I'm just this really normal girl who nobody ever really liked. So even though I've never watched Twilight, it's my understanding that kind of part of the problem with Twilight is not only do they kind of give you the ability to insert yourself into the main character if you want to imagine yourself in that situation, to fantasize about that sort of stuff, but Twilight kind of is separated from that conceptually and kind of denies it, and I don't know. There's things about Twilight which are more comparable to abusive relationships than to appropriate dating. Not to say that everything in here is necessarily appropriate relationship-wise, but I don't know, because part of it is every episode begins with showing you kind of some of the guys whose relationship with her are supposed to be developing more than you would think they should, where basically the guys in this strange pseudo-fantasy intro to the episode tell her that they love her, and she says, of course we love each other, we're family. And you know, there's an element of that that's just kind of silly, where it's sort of like if you walked out on the street and you grabbed a random guy and a random girl and you stood them next to each other and said, okay, y'all are family now. If one or both of them said, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we're family now, so of course we love each other. It's kind of there's an element of that that's kind of detached from reality in that, you know, she's not really related to any of them by blood or anything like that, and she didn't grow up with any of them. Instead, it's just like, I don't know, I guess that she feels so desperate to have a family that she's ignoring the reality that there's nothing necessarily biologically wrong with wanting to be with any of these guys. Anything would be completely legally and social constructs designed to prevent the actual biological situation that would actually be kind of risky, which is if you have kids with people who are too closely related to you, then you cause inbreeding, which causes recessive traits to express themselves, which tends to be diseases and whatnot. That's the problem that a lot of purebred dogs suffer, unfortunately. But I don't know. I feel like I'm babbling about a lot of stuff here. Overall, it was okay. Last 3 episodes obviously weird because that's when it went off. It had finished the stuff that were the first 12 episodes of the series proper, and then it had a 12.5, which was weird. And then I'm trying to remember what happened in the first OVA, second OVA. You know, it's stuff where it's like, okay, you can kind of tell that if they had all come out together, they would have been. It would have been obvious where the story ended and where it was entertaining its audience. And overall, it was okay. It was good. Probably not the sort of thing that I would be super excited to watch again, but nothing that actually really pushed any of my buttons, I guess. No, we'll leave it down there. Let's see, before I get on to Pokemon, I also watched Zootopia in theaters. It was actually pretty good. Now, if y'all haven't seen it, but y'all have seen the trailer, this may be something that might not have come to mind first, because, you know, you see it, you know, it's Disney, and it's animated animals, but I think they're actually targeting a much older audience than you might have guessed based on the population of this movie. And it's kind of obvious based on that scene that's in that trailer. I don't want to say what it is if you haven't seen the trailer, if you whatever, but the entire hilarity of that situation is definitely something that's more adult humor than child. And don't mistake me when I say adult humor. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's all about sex and violence and drugs and whatnot, because those are topics that are sometimes adult, and sometimes those are kind of an immature person trying to be adult or whatever. So there's a little variety there, but this one is actually adult in that I don't know of any kids that have had to go to the DMV and had to deal with it being slow, other than, oh, Mom, why are you still keeping me here? Even though if they understand that it's because the process there is itself slow. That's kind of a play on the reality that adults deal with, and that's what I mean by it's more of an adult joke than you would think. But, you know, that's just regarding the trailer. Regarding the movie itself, there was, I thought, quite a bit of it. The story was surprisingly complicated. I mean, it's nothing that you can't trace, but it's not this oversimplified message that you would think it would be from the very get-go. It's actually a very complete piece, which has a lot of moving parts, and honestly, I can't help but think that, you know, given these jokes about the way real life really is versus, you know, those jokes and the plot being slightly complicated enough, I just see it definitely being aimed at it's definitely not going to be replacing anybody. Well, okay, I can't say anybody, but it's not going to be replacing many little kids' favorite movie, Frozen or whatever. It's not going to be replacing Frozen as their favorite movie or anything like that, because that one's, there's lots of good things about that. That one's kind of got some anti-trope sort of stuff going on to it that makes it entertaining for an older audience. But why what is happening where is a little more obvious, I think. Whereas this one, you know, it had some twists and turns and pieces moving all around. And the overall moral message that Zootopia is playing with is kind of related to general concepts of bigotry in real life, I would say, but it's done in a way that it's actually real smart, where within the context of the story, it is what it is, and it's this well thought out concept where they're not trying to shoehorn in real life, yeah, this is men versus women, this is blacks versus whites, this is gays versus straights, or something like that. It's actually what is in their world, because the overall message is just one where they want you to think about these things and how everything's playing out in the real world, and they're trying not to force it down your throat or anything like that. So this is kind of like the opposite of Ferngully, where it's not really that cringy. I mean, Ferngully has its neat things, and it's very nostalgic, especially for us kids from the 90s, but it's still a little cringy. It's like, oh, you are killing the rainforest, you evil people, you. And it's not directly saying that per se, I think, but, you know, Ferngully just kind of has that cringy feeling to it. Enjoyable by some people despite that, maybe, but Zootopia I didn't think had that. It's just, it was great. The laughs were great. Everything about it was great. It was a really good movie. I'm definitely looking forward to purchasing that and watching it again. So the other thing, of course, was I was playing Pokemon. And obviously, I had to be doing some pretty intense Pokemoning in order to fall behind on anime watching. And the answer is, well, I had fired up Alpha Sapphire already to do something between these games. But that's right, I wanted to get the Torchic out of here, but I think Wednesday night I decided, you know, there's some Pokemon later in the game that I really want, so between the two of these games I got this one super rushed through. It's beaten Elite Four, it's done the Delta episode. I've caught so many legendary Pokemon. There's 32 of them in ORAS. Obviously not all of them are available here, because some of them are Omega Ruby only, some are Alpha Sapphire only, but I've definitely gotten a lot of them, not all of them. I didn't go for the Reggies, for example, and Zekrom and those fucking flying weather things. But I went for other stuff, and I've been doing other stuff, and I've trained up a team of pickup Pokemon that are in their level 80s so that they can pick up awesome things. And I've been EV training and IV breeding Pokemon in here. I don't have a whole lot, you know, not enough for a team just yet, but I do have a Battle Mason team going. I probably mentioned that last week. But all of that means that I've been setting things up so that I'm actually playing both games at the same time, and it's really hard to split my attention 4 ways, I guess, because, you know, I'm usually also browsing the internet while doing stuff, so it is what it is. Let's see, I don't have anything to talk about in terms of stuff coming out next month, because today's the day I would be ordering it, and so I'm intending to order it, but I am, of course, intending to also do Pokemon. And you can kind of, I think you can see a pile of stuff there from last week that I still haven't sorted through, so obviously I'm falling behind on stuff I should be doing. I should be ripping this stuff and breaking these piles down. I should be doing that while I'm playing Pokemon, because I'm not doing anything else on the computer otherwise. It's the perfect way to multitask. Then I'm doing like 4 or 5 things at a time. Ugh. But I can say this, Kokurubo? That one Kickstarter one with the little girl on the plant thing. Oh, that supposedly is shipping? I'm not exactly sure, because I haven't received any shipping tracking numbers, I guess. But that's what the update said. It said those were shipping, and that the digital download stuff will be available during their normal time, so it should be interesting to see when all of that arrives. Hopefully by next week, but you never know. They said wait until middle of April before talking to them about it. So I guess that will be the plan if it doesn't arrive, but we're waiting for it. Other stuff coming out next month? It's hard to remember. I do know that I've been tracking The Force Awakens because that comes out early next month. I think. Yeah, I think that's what the Amazon entry says. But what else? I can't remember. Because there was a lot of neat things coming out. But like the neat thing, one of the neatest things about today's release was When They Cry on Blu-ray, and that's already come out before. So was it something else I was thinking about that would be coming out next month that I can't remember? And I'm just gonna have to order the stuff and hopefully remember to order stuff and tell y'all about it next week. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and let y'all go. Have a nice week.